In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the overall upcoming pattern because there's a whole lot to go over, including a lot of snowfall out west and for some of the northeast and north central United States. We'll get into that in just a little bit. A deep Arctic blast is going to work its way into the eastern United States, and then also a potential nor'easter or tropical system. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. Let's just get straight into things. I want to just kind of address the elephant in the room. It is currently 11:45 p.m. the day before this video comes out. I do have a lot of plans tomorrow. I want to make sure I get a video out for you guys, so we are just doing this ahead of time. So we're going to just briefly go over the current radar imagery. This is going to kind of piggyback into what's probably happening tomorrow morning, but it won't be precisely what's happening tomorrow morning. As we're taking a look here at tonight's weather, we can see that there are some showers moving into Montana and Wyoming up here. We do get kind of a nighttime perspective here of some of this more wintry weather that's happening up here for the Great Lakes and upper Midwest, some of the Ohio Valley there, because in Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan, we can see there is some snow showers happening for some of these spots up here. Rice Lake, Ironwood, Marquette, areas like these regions around for the upper peninsula of Michigan. In northern Wisconsin, we are seeing some of that white stuff fall from the sky. Definitely interesting to see. Now, as we take a look at portions of areas further east and further south, we do see that there is some light to moderate to even heavier precipitation taking place depending on where you're at. We can see it is on the heavier side here for Indiana, and then also here just on kind of the western extent here of Michigan. But this will probably be more located over here by tomorrow, maybe even further eastward, so we'll have to wait and see where that's located a little bit later on. Now, for the four corner states here and some of the south central United States, we do see some showery activity that may or may not be happening by the time we're reaching the time you're watching this video. What's interesting is we get to see these kind of Florida thunderstorms, daily thunderstorms dying down. They kind of spark up every afternoon, and then every evening they eventually die down. We're seeing at, again, 11:45 p.m. or so, these are dying down, mostly south of I-4 there for the most part. Now, what we're going to do is take a look here at the northeast because I missed a spot. So we see that here in Maine, we are seeing some heavier showers take place up here as well. I do suspect this area will be kind of done with this by the time I reach the morning, but again, we'll have to wait and see what it looks like. You can check your current radar imagery and see what's kind of happened, but definitely overnight there was some very, very heavy showers moving through here from the south here, kind of moving onshore, probably bringing some ocean air with it, probably pretty humid air, a little bit of a salty smell to it, I would suspect. I live kind of near the coast in Virginia, and that happens when we get the wind coming off the coast. I don't know how far inland that can actually happen, but I would suspect it's happening as far as possible with this event here. Now, what we're finally going to do is move on and take a look at the upcoming pattern, where we will dive into the upcoming storminess, the total precipitation, total snowfall, and the upcoming temperature pattern, because there is, again, that big Arctic blast on its way. Now, here we are taking a look at the upcoming storminess. We can see that this model is definitely picking up on some of that snowfall taking place for the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan there. This low is going to kind of expand overnight. We see the secondary low, primary low up here. Something like this is what's taking place. Some colder air is trying to make its way in. Behind this cold front, it's a pretty typical setup here. We can see that this is only a 1001 millibar low pressure center. We do have a 994 up here. And then we have this other cold front that it had moved through over here, we can see. As we continue on with this, we can see that there is still some showery activity up here in the north central United States and kind of south central, southeastern Canada there. Also, the southwestern United States starting to get some storminess there, as we can see by Saturday into Sunday here, kind of tomorrow evening, or today evening actually by the time you're watching this video. As you can see by tomorrow afternoon for the time you're watching this video, we can see that there is plenty of storminess now taking place kind of across the southern United States. We can see this big Arctic air mass kind of diving southward here. Very, very interesting stuff. As we continue on with this, we can really see that there is a low here, a bit of a cold front extending down just like this, and this is allowing for some of that colder air to move in behind. I suspect Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe especially is going to be very cold. I'm currently in Kentucky right now, and here I know it's supposed to be highs in the 40s. Potentially for a lot of folks there, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time frames. So where I'm at currently, that is going to be the case. It's flip-flopping a lot here, kind of west of the Appalachian Mountains. Definitely a far contrast from what I'm used to in Virginia. It's very interesting being in a much different area here. We're just outside of Lexington, so it is to the west there of the Appalachian Mountains. It kind of breaks into some plains. Very interesting. I'm not used to being this far west and in this terrain of the United States, but the temperatures here do fluctuate a lot. It is very interesting. By later on Monday, we will see more of a high precipitation cold front, kind of mostly impacting the mid-Atlantic up through the Northeast, I would say, here with some of the storminess here. That's Monday into Tuesday, 17th into 18th. We have a more primary low here over the Great Lakes, which will bring some snowfall to Wisconsin, Michigan, potentially Ohio, potentially Indiana, potentially Pennsylvania, potentially New York. So there is some states and they're going to maybe get their first snowfall here with this bit of precipitation. And we can totally tell there's a huge ridge here and a huge trough taking place here in the eastern United States. Again, positive PNA. We've been seeing that for months now. As we continue on, we see all of this storminess kind of moves up eventually. What we're left with is a bit of Arctic air still in place here for a lot of the eastern United States, potentially some mixed showers happening here across portions of Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, West Virginia, Maryland as well. As we reach more later in the week, so Thursday the 20th here, we see everything kind of lifts off. Even the cold begins to lift off here to the north. We see a lot of snow up there in Canada. And we're going to start to see some cold potentially move back into the west. Again, I'm telling you guys to take this with a grain of salt because I've seen this model try to hint at this as we've been stuck in this positive PNA pattern. Really, over and over again, we've been stuck in a pattern like this with this positive PNA out here causing the cold air to kind of return out east. What we will see is this model over and over again keeps in the very tail end of the model run, showing the cold returning to the west and this positive PNA kind of coming to an end. But what ends up happening is over time, it goes away with that and we see the same thing return. I do think that eventually, obviously, we will break away from this pattern and we will eventually see one of those times be right. So we're going to consider this to be a possible exit of this pattern that we've been stuck in. As we reach about Saturday the 22nd, this is when we begin to see the warmer air kind of be able to move into the eastern United States, and then colder air able to make its way into the western United States. And this also allows for some snowfall to work its way into Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana even. Definitely some snowfall. We could tell there is a negative PNA, meaning there's a trough here out west and a big-time ridge out east. It does the opposite of a positive PNA. It forces this warm air to head into the eastern United States. Whereas again, positive PNA here forces the cold air to move around that air mass into the eastern United States. So it's this PNA that kind of dictates what the entire United States sees as far as temperatures and pattern. That's why I consider it to be the most direct teleconnection that directly impacts what pattern we're in. I would say out of any of them, the PNA is gonna be the end all to the entire pattern. Really, we can see the snowiness kind of continues all the way through the end of the model run here. We're still taking it with a grain of salt, but this is by Monday, October 24th. We will continue to update you guys daily as we track this interesting weather pattern that this model wants to show happening. We will see if it really does end up happening or not. Again, take it with a grain of salt, but we will consider it a possible exit of this pattern that we've been stuck in. Also note a nor'easter developing here along the eastern seaboard here at the end. It's been wanting to show that one as well. Now here's the total precipitation through the next 10 days. If you're anywhere in the whites, we're expecting practically no precipitation. Your grays will be 1/10 of an inch or less of precipitation. Your greens will be 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Your blues will be 1/2 an inch to 1 inch. Your yellows will be 1 inch to 2 inches. Your reds will be 2 to 5 inches. And then your browns will be 5 to 10 inches of precipitation. As far as snowfall here, we're expecting anywhere from a dusting, if anything, there in the grays. In the blues, we will see 2 to 6 inches of snowfall potentially. The purples will be 6 to 10. Your pinks will be 10 to 20. And then your pastels will be 20 to 30, even 40 inches of snowfall there. So obviously, we see heavier amounts happening around the lakes here for the United States, and then also the Cascades and the Rockies, where we get some potential snowfall later on. Looking a little more wintry. We are moving through October, getting to the later portion of October. Things are really beginning to transition towards winter. It's very normal for this time of year, and we should begin to see a lot more snowfall over the next month the 2 months, and then we will be full-blown winter time, obviously, by the time we're reaching December. Now, quickly, let's go over that temperature pattern and just see how things play out here. We see we're already in a bit of a cold air mass. We're going to get a second one that moves through, a very minor one. And then what we're left with is some warmer air surging out ahead of this cold front here up the southeast coast. We have a big-time cold front moving in, and the deepest Arctic blast of the season. And again, still that ever so persistent positive PNA out west, blocking that cold air towards the eastern United States. We see it all in motion right there on that one frame. This cold air is going to be very brutal by the time we're reaching Tuesday, October 18th. We can see anywhere in the greens, 10 to 15 degrees below what's normal for your spot in this time of year. In those blues within the greens, they're almost a purplish shade there. We're 15 to 25 degrees below normal for your area for this time of year. Very far departures from what is typical. We see this kind of stick around. This is all the way by the time we're reaching Thursday the 20th. Friday the 21st here, we see it still around. Saturday the 22nd, things are really dying down. And then by Sunday the 23rd, we can tell this model has transitioned us into a negative PNA, which allows for this cold air to build its way into the west, forcing the warm air to surge into the eastern regions of North America. Very interesting stuff. That would again be that exit that we're taking with a grain of salt, but considering a possibility here. And over the coming days, confidence will either go away with that or start to really increase that is going to be the case. Again, tune in with us daily. We do upload every single day, and we will watch this pattern and get to the bottom of it eventually. Also, be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video.